because the most important piece of everything is action, action, action. I talk about another 3-step approach, which I think is extremely relevant to this idea of exercise is a preventative medicine. If exercise is a preventative medicine, then we have to be aware of that. We have to accept that, and we have to act on it. Awareness, acceptance, action. If you are not feeling the way you want to feel, if you're not in the shape you want to be in, if you can't do the things you want to do, if you get very winded going up a flight of stairs, all of these things, that's okay. You first have to recognize that, because we can't change anything unless we know we want to change it, or unless we first recognize that it's there. Then we have to accept the fact that this is where we're at. We have to accept the fact that this is where we're at. Yes, if you can't walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded, you have to accept that fact. That's just your starting point. It's not embarrassing. It's not sad. It's not weak. It's just your starting point, and that's all that matters. It is for you. In a few episodes after this, in the coming new year, we'll talk about goals, and we'll talk about resolutions and all of that stuff and outcomes, and how we can really focus on the process of it all, because that's our competitive advantage, focusing on the process, enjoying doing the thing, not chasing after some distant outcome all the time. But coming back to the point of acceptance, like accepting that this is your starting point, accepting that it's really hard for you to tie your shoes, or accepting that you can't bend over, or accepting the fact that you can't do a push-up, or whatever it is. Or your goals are more lofty than that, your fitness level is a little more exceptional than that. It doesn't matter what your starting point is. It matters that you are aware that you want to make a change, or you're aware that you need to make a change. Right? You accept the fact that this is your starting point. You fully recognize that this is it. Your 2 feet are stamped in reality, because you cannot fight against reality. You always lose. This is reality. This is my starting point. Now, the third and most important step is action. Action, action, action. Every single day. Every single day, doing something to eat well, move well, sleep well, and think well. Right? Life can be very complicated with a lot of different things, especially if you consume a lot of self-help, personal development type of content. It can be everywhere. You can feel like there's so much information you don't know what to grab onto. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you to digest right here in this moment. Think about 4 things. That's it. Think about 4 things: eating, moving, sleeping, and thinking. That's it. Yes, there's other branches that come out of those things, but eating, moving, and sleeping are very self-explanatory. Try and eat the best foods you can about 80% of the time. Move your body every single day. Every single day. You have no other option. You will die sooner if you do not move your body. And think well. Or sorry, the third one that's very self-explanatory, sleeping well. Prioritize your sleep. I've done a bunch of episodes on that. So is Huberman. He's done a bunch of episodes on really diving in on sleep. You need 8 hours of sleep. Okay. And then the fourth one is thinking well. That's a little more complicated. There's more branches to that. That's building an optimism practice. That's thinking about your mental skills. That's thinking about your gratitude. That's thinking about how you breathe. Like all of those things go into that. Again, I've talked extensively about some of those things on this podcast as well. But if we can really dial in on eating well, moving well, and sleeping well, then we'll be able to think well. We'll be able to have clarity of mind. We'll be able to make the right decisions. We'll be able to think about the downstream effects of our decisions. We'll be able to have this awareness, acceptance, action, 3-step approach to changing the things in our life. But really, the number one thing you can do to improve your life is to stop doing things that make you feel like shit. The number one way to improve your life is to stop doing the things that make you feel like shit. So what do you have to do? You have to become aware of the things that make you feel like shit. You have to accept the fact that you do them too often and you haven't made a change yet. Because if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And so you're aware of it. You accept that it needs to change. And now you go into action. And action is about baby steps. It's about making your habits too small to fail. Again, we'll touch on this in a larger, longer episode about goals, habits, things of that nature. Whether goals is an interesting word. I'm just using that as a frame, as a context for the larger conversation we're going to be had about building habits and stuff like that. But for now, the idea is that you want to build habits that are too small to fail. And that's how you have to start your movement routine. You have to start. If all you're doing is walking for 10 minutes, 2 times a day, that's fucking incredible. Celebrate that. That's like me. That's like me. But you have to build on that. You have to build on that. You have to move your body. You have to lift heavy things and put them down. You have to stretch. You have to gain mobility. You have to have stability. Like, there's so many things that you have to do, but you have to start doing them. Yes, I know it seems daunting and like, holy fuck, there's so much stuff. But you have to simplify it down into little things that you can do each and every day, that are in your mental health toolkit, that are in your physical health toolkit, that are in your overall, I'm becoming the best version of myself toolkit.